Welcome to The Journey. My name is Brandalyn Shropshire, and I'll be your host. The Journey is just an opportunity for us to meet entrepreneurs and creatives and learn about the highs, the lows, the struggles, and everything that went into their journey. So today we have Miss Dominique Gooseby Harris, who is the owner of Natty Naturals. Thank you so much for joining us, Dominique.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Well, we're going to have some fun today. But before we even get into all of that, would you, if you don't mind, could you talk a little bit about Natty Naturals and just all the different products that you guys offer?
Absolutely. So Natty Naturals is basically an organic apothecary. And an apothecary is a plethora of different wonderful products that can be used and enjoyed from head to toe. So hair care, skin care, bath and body care, men's beard and shave care, oral care, candles. So it encompasses everything you need in a one-stop shop.
Yes. You offer something for everybody. I went on your website and I was like, wow, they have something for men. They have a bohemian collection. They have candles. You have something for everybody. I saw that. And before we really get into this, I'm not the only one that recognized that too, because you've received a lot of awards for your company as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when I was reading, it was talking about how you've been featured in on Essence for your Instagram site.
Yeah. That was nice. Yes. Essence and then Me Magazine. I was we rewarded an award, I think back in 2012, maybe 2011. Holy crap, that's a long time ago. And yeah, so that was like really nice. So yeah,
I'm sure it was. Well, but now that we know what your business is all about, let's just kind of back up and talk a little bit about how Natty Naturals came to be. I know that we talked before this, so if you don't mind, let's talk a little bit about your son and how all of that started.
Absolutely. So when Christian, who's now 14, can you believe it, was 2, he contracted, really what it was a fungal infection known as ringworm. But when your immune system reacts negatively to it, it becomes something else. And I think he got it from the daycare he was going to, which was crazy because I was spending like, what, $1,000 a week? It was expensive. So I know. It was crazy. So, you know, when I went to the doctors, I was like, listen, this doesn't look like typical ringworm. Plus, my grandmother, when she saw it, she was like, this doesn't look like any ringworm I've ever seen. Right? You know, grandmamas know. And so I think something is wrong. He can't even lay down on his mattress because the pustules were so painful. So he would lay on his hands so his head wouldn't touch the mattress. And I would have to get up in the middle of the night and rub his head and rub it because it would itch, but he couldn't scratch it because it would hurt. So I was getting the runaround from the doctors, who I actually had to tell them what it was. I said, I think this is something called carry-on, right? And he agreed. He was like, you're right. I think that's what it is. Great. Now that you get paid every time I walk in this door. So, and I have to tell you what it is. So I was getting the runaround. They were saying, oh my goodness, his hair is never going to grow back and la, 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 la. And I was like, I refuse to believe that. So what it made me do was kind of take matters into my own hands and say, okay, I'm going to have to look up some remedies or, you know, just take it into my own hands to look up something that I think will help, because we're going through this every night, me waking up, Saeed waking up, rubbing his head, helping him go back to sleep, dealing with his pain, you know, because at the time he was the only child. So I found some ingredients that, you know, helped, and I put them together, rubbed his head, and I also would give him echinacea and golden seal, which helps build up the immune system from the inside. Right. So we did that it took about a month, and then we would have to keep his head covered, and his hair, I mean, it just went away and his hair was growing back. And it was just like, from that point on, I went through my entire linen closet and looked at all the ingredients and said, okay, and then looked them up, researched them, and saw how poisonous and toxic they could be, and threw out everything. And I was like, yeah, this is done. And then just started filling it back up with organic or natural ingredients, or ingredients that had well-crafted ingredients, which basically means how they naturally grow in nature.
Your nature.
So absolutely. So that's what I did. And I was like, this started my journey of, let me be more mindful of what we're putting on our hair and skin, because our skin, of course, is our largest organ. I want to make sure I'm not infusing it with things that are toxic. You know what I
Toxic.
mean? So
Excellent.
yeah, so
So,
that's how this started.
which in essence, what you're saying is your business started from being a mom that refused to take no as an answer.
Right.
Truly, truly. So okay, so, you get him together, you make sure he's doing well. How did you actually start the business? What happened that made you go, these products may work not only for my son, but how did you get to the point where it's like, maybe I can take off and do this in a different way?
Right. So what happened, I was still working as a design manager over a design gallery. So at the time, I was bringing in concoctions. Everybody was calling me like Wiccan and witch. Uh-oh, here comes the blah. I'm like, yeah, but this is going to make you feel better, because I was coming in with all kind of natural remedies, elderberry, echinacea. And I'm like, but it's working. You can call me what you want, but it's working.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay, so at that time we hit the recession. So then I was laid off, right? Which I don't know, at the time, for some reason, I felt like that was a blessing. I'm like,
A blessing.
yes, I did. I was like, babe, I'm on my way home because I'm out of here. I've been laid off, right? I got a nice severance package, but I used that time and I said, you know what? I don't want anybody to have that type of control over my destiny again. So what can we do? So I started experimenting with ingredients, and I was like, I wasn't really satisfied with what I was seeing in the commercial district, as far as hair care, skin care. So I said, let me start working with some things. You know what I mean? So that's where it came from. And at the time, this was in my mother's kitchen. So we moved from Atlanta, where I was working as a designer, moved from there, moved into my mother's house. I was pregnant with my third child at this time.
Oh, wow.
And homeschooling my other two and a cousin's child. So it was 3 kids I was homeschooling. I was pregnant with I just had Naomi. I had just had her. And my husband was a GM. So he was always at work, right? So I said, okay. I was whipping up concoctions. He would take them to, people at his store, which he, and I would show it to family members. And that's how it started. And the demand just started growing. And so one day I said to him, listen, instead of building up somebody else's vision, how about we work together and build up our own? He said, I'll put in my 2 weeks. And that's how that happened.
Literally.
So we've been working together ever since. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you were determined, and then you had a vision, and you just took it from there. So now how do you now with the business? I know how successful the business is, and we're going to talk about that let's go ahead and talk about that now. Let's talk about how successful the business is doing right now. You guys, I know we talked briefly, but as soon as you put products out, they're gone, right?
Within minutes. Yeah. That's the scary part, because the way my mind works, I don't like to disappoint people. So I'm always like, oh gosh. And what is going on now with COVID-19 is that our vendors literally can't get bottles and pumps. So it's like my husband, who has 20 years of managerial experience, came in and organized the business. So he's like, listen, this is what we're going to have to release on the site. If you do more than this, we won't last until the end of the summer. So I need you to stick to this, right? So I'm like, but I've got so many people that want the product. I need to give it to them. So, and that's what we're dealing with. We're like, within minutes, we're releasing like anywhere between 20 and 50 of each product. And within minutes, it's gone.
It's gone.
And so we're getting these death threat emails. I'm kidding. Don't take that serious. Not death threats. But a lot of emails. So I'm having to, kind of be proactive and figure out ways to help them. Like, okay, how can I, without, sacrificing our business, how can I help them get the product? Because they've been trying to order for 3 and 4 weeks and they can't get in. They're like, I set my alarm clock. I don't understand. No, I had 2 products in the cart, and when I went to check out, it's gone. I know. So, I'll do a pre-order like, hey, I tell you what, you will get it on this next time. Let's pre-order. So I'm trying to figure out ways to be proactive during this time. You know what I mean? Because it has been overwhelming for a lot of us product makers, and a lot of my product making friends are also experiencing the same thing. So
Yeah. It's
yeah,
just testing you, stretching you. But,
it is.
speaking of stretching you, you're a business owner, you're a wife, you're a mom, and you're a homeschooling mom. Have mercy. How do you balance all of this? How do you just keep from going crazy? Like, how do you prioritize?
Right. So first, let me say, it would be difficult to do this without a team. So we have my husband who is 1000% on board, right? And then
Right.
we have my parents who literally get them every other weekend. So it's kind of like a relationship. You know what I mean? It's like every other weekend they're like, okay, it's our weekend to get the kids. So that gives us time to work. So we work on those weekends when they're gone, right? And so that's how we're able to balance. But at the end of the day, when it's dinner time, that's family time. You know what I mean? So what I had to do was, kind of think about our vision and kind of think about what my main goal was for the business. And that was to make sure our kids, because kids don't care how busy you are. They want to know why you're not available. Right.
Yes.
So, right. So with the homeschool, there's no set schedules. Everything is, okay, how can I help you get to the best you? Because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to assist you get to the best you. Right. So we had to establish when they were younger, a way to let me get you to a point to where the only time you need to ask us is when you can't understand and you're like, hey, I need your help. You have to set that up from a young age, teaching them how to read, teaching them how to be self-starters. So in the morning, when they wake up, they know we do our chores first. That's the first thing. That's off top because mommy's OCD and you have to have a clean house, even though we clean at night. I'm like, kids like, we just cleaned up at night. I know, clean up in the morning.
But clean up in the morning, though.
But clean up in the morning, something fell, a dust. But they know this is teaching them responsibility, because when you get out on your own, I'm not going to be here over you telling you what you need to do, right? I need you to set up some things. So with that, and then I'm like, okay, what are we going to learn today? What are we going to do today? What do we need to work on? I don't look at grade levels. I don't look at this. I don't look at that. I look at what's comfortable. Where are we struggling? If we're struggling here, let's go back to this, right? If we're not struggling here, let's move forward to this. Like my 14-year-old, I think at 11 was doing functions, which is algebra. Hey, if you're comfortable enough to do that and you can understand and comprehend, fine, let's do it. If you're not, let's scale back. If you need to how many syllables are in a word and you're 10, fine, let's scale back and do it. Let's make this fun. I'm not going to put pressure on you like, well, you should be doing this because you're in the 5th grade. No, let's scale back. And so that makes them comfortable. Okay, we're working on what we need to, and we're here to
help. So in the midst of all of this, because you've got, just listening to you, you've got a lot going on. You do, but you not only do you wear a lot of hats, but you keep them in the air. What have you learned about yourself as your business has grown, as your family has gotten older? What is the one thing that, not one, it could be more than one, but what have you learned about yourself through, all of these different experiences?
Okay, so what I've learned about myself, first of all, is that I can be humble. Woo, that was a hard lesson, because when you have a vision, inviting someone else in to partake in that vision, i.e. my husband, him coming in saying, listen, this is my strength. Let me do this. Yes. I had to kind of humble myself and say, you're right. Because for a while you fight it. You're like, no, this is my vision. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Right?
That's big.
So I was like, no, I'm going to allow you to do what your strength is. This is your strength. That's good. I'm not good at organizing. You're right. As far as organizing a business now, organizing a home, I'm great at. But organizing a business, I'm the creative. I'm like, I just want to create.
Yeah. So it takes some humility to get to that point, huh? Or just stepping back.
So humility, it
Mhm.
also took patience, that you don't know you have. Woo.
Right.
You have to learn to juggle, deadlines and schedules and budgets. And you have to learn to juggle, your kids need your time when you've been busting out orders all day and they're like, okay,
Mhm.
can you help me like figure it out? And you're like, oh, and you can't allow them to see the stress on your face. It's like, whoo, I just want to take 20,000 minutes, but okay, let me come back. So it's taught me that we're resilient. I can
Yes.
work as a team. Okay. Because
Mhm.
again, when you come up with a vision and it's working, that can be very boosting to your ego, and that can heighten, where humility should reside, ego takes steps in.
Yes.
You know what
And
I mean?
that actually brings another question up. You talked a lot about having to be, be humbled and allow your
Mhm.
husband to kind of take over that part of it. You notice a lot of times with businesses, especially, you have people who, hold on, let's see here. Is that your phone? I hear something going on. Okay. Can you
No,
hear that?
mine is always on silent.
Oh,
So
okay. Gotcha. Um, a lot of times when you're in business with your partner, that can cause a lot of friction and just
it can.
drama and trouble. Have you found that the business, did it affect your marriage in a negative way at any time, or just, it helped to build you guys up or bring you closer?
It helped build us up. It
Mm-hmm.
helped because once we got over trying to be right fighters, if you understand what that means, meaning I'm right,
Absolutely.
I'm right, I'm right, I'm right, I'm right,
Yeah.
right. Once we got past that, we had to learn, okay, at the end of the day, if this never takes off, if this doesn't succeed past this point, I'm here. I'm here with you. You know what I mean? So we had to be like,
Yes.
okay, how can we move to a point where it's benefiting our whole family, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Besides money, don't get me wrong, money is great because it helps assist us in a great lifestyle that we love. I get it. But
Right.
how can we live comfortable to where it's not compromising our family and compromising each other, right? At some
Yeah.
point, we gotta turn it off, and you gotta
Mm-hmm.
learn to turn it off because I can talk business all day. Okay, this email, la, 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 la. And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
la, and I'm like, la, 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 and la, la. So it's like, let me vent to you and then be done with it at a certain point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me get to
Mm-hmm.
that point. And we had to learn, but when it's time to turn it off and it's about the family, it's about the family, right?
And we talked a little bit about that. Um, for you, what does success mean?
Mm, that's a
Yes.
good one because it's different for everyone. Now, for me, success is when you have a family that actually not only love you but like you. They like the things that are happening in the
That's
household.
two
They
different. That's
like
two different
that.
things. Yes.
It is. It's like I love you, but gosh darn, you know what I mean? But we actually like each other. We have family movie nights every week. We actually sit and talk to each other. I was talking to my kids today, like, what's on y'all's mind? What's going on? Tell me where we are. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
we like to communicate. We like to be up under each other. We like to be around each other. That to me, if you can have people that actually love you, at the end of the day, no matter how well your business is doing, because businesses can do amazing, right? But then
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, your family doesn't even know you. That's what I didn't want. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
when I think about turning down different opportunities, I said I never want to be in a position because I don't handle stress well. I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. So if I get in a stressful position, nobody's happy in this house, right?
Absolutely. I
I
understand.
knew I had to turn down certain opportunities so I wouldn't create that in this household. We need balance here, right? Of course, I'm a Libra. We're the scales, but we need I'm the scale, but we need balance. You know what I mean? And if there's no balance, then we need to talk about it. We need to come together and say, okay, what's going on here? And we are the family that will communicate. And my
Good.
kids will communicate as long as it's respectful, because I'm real big about that. Like you can voice what you would like to say, keep that tone in check.
And we'll be all right.
Right. We'll be all right because I don't want to have a reflex, you know.
I didn't mean to punch you in the throat. I don't know what happened.
Right. I don't understand where I went. Sorry. Neat came out. I don't know what happened.
I don't know.
Right.
Well,
So
let me ask you this one final question.
yes.
Yeah. I told you this would be fun, just simple. When it comes to, like, if you were able to go back and talk to your younger self, what one piece of advice would you have given yourself at the beginning, at the genesis of your company, that you think would have the most impact on you now?
Ooh, I would say if I could go back, I would say hire a consultant early on. Because a lot of times we think we can just ask people that are in the business, hey, like, where do you get your resources from? Huh? And people are not, and it's not fair to them. That's called a consultation, and respecting the fact that that costs. People pay for that. So I pay for that. But it was like 3 or 4 years into the business. I wish I had done that earlier, because I could have saved myself a lot of money, a lot of time. You know what I mean? So a consultation, like, hey, I'm willing to invest in this business full time. This is not a hobby. This is an investment. So how can I avoid some of the pitfalls and mistakes that you made? I'm willing to pay you for that information, right? And it's a respect. People don't always understand that respecting. Like, you know, don't just come and say, well, how did you get started? Okay, that's a whole story, and that's a consultation. So let's, you know what I mean? But
Let's back this up.
if I could go back and tell that younger me at that time, 9 years ago, hire a consultant off the rip. You would have avoided a lot of things that you're like, really? I should have done that?
I should have done that.
Oh, so the green tops and the white tops shouldn't, wait, it should be, you know, consistent? Wait, oh, wait.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us today, Miss Dominique. I truly do appreciate it. Dominique from Natty Naturals. And if anybody wanted to purchase product, learn more about you, your story, and your company, if you don't mind, please tell us. And we'll make sure to put this in the section below as well. But if you don't mind, tell us what your website is, and Facebook, or excuse me, any of your social media platforms.
Absolutely. So first, our website is nattynaturals.com, Natty, Natty, which is basically it's a short term for natural. So natural, but it's nattynaturals.com. We also have an Etsy, which is under Bohemian Collection 2. So you can go to Etsy there, because our audience is totally different than our Natty Naturals. That was interesting. And you can also find me on Instagram under All Things Au Natural, as well as Natty Naturals, as well as Bohemian Collection. Facebook, you can find me under All Things Au Natural and Natty Naturals and Bohemian Collection. I feel like a record, just copy and paste.
Yes.
But and then Twitter, yeah, All Things Au Natural, and Pinterest, All Things Au Natural. So
wonderful. Well, I'm going to find your Pinterest website. That's my next stop. I'm going to find your
Pinterest
Pinterest.
is doing amazing. Like, I think we get over 100,000 monthly views on Pinterest.
Really?
Pinterest is doing amazing.
Oh, well, that'll be my next stop. I've got to see that. I've got to see that.
All natural. That's there. Inspiration there.
Well, we are going to put all of your social media platform and all of your contact information right below this video. But I want to thank you so much for taking the time out to join us and just answer a couple of questions and have fun with us today. And for you, thanks for coming. For everyone out there, thank you so much for watching. And we will be on the journey once again next month. So tune in and see who we have. You all have a wonderful day.